Okay everyone, if you remember about 7 months ago, we did a video called Everything We Know About PS5 So Far. And in that video I said we'd do one more of these right before the console actually comes out, except now we don't have to talk about rumors and speculation. We know pretty much everything about PS5, and up to this point it's hard to keep track of everything, the big details, the small details. Well, it's all here, the console features, controller, UI, everything about PS5. It's all in this one video, so let's get to it. Let's begin with specs. PS5 CPU is using AMD Zen 2 x86 microarchitecture. It's got 8 cores, 16 threads, capped at a variable frequency of 3.5 GHz. The GPU is part of the Radeon Navi family. It's a custom RDNA 2 variant, running at a capped variable frequency of 2.23 GHz, and at 36 compute units, this gives PS5's GPU 10.23 teraflops. The RAM is also 16 GB of GDDR6 with a bandwidth of 448 GB per second. For storage, PS5 uses a highly custom solid-state drive with a tremendous amount of I/O throughput, at 5.5 GB per second of raw data and 8 to 9 GB per second of compressed data. With a 12-channel custom controller, this allows PS5 to access massive amounts of data on the fly, allowing developers to think more freely in how they design their games. The actual SSD size for players will be 825 GB, and this is the advertised complete size, as in what will be usable to players will be slightly less, much like other electronics. 825 GB is an odd but custom amount that Sony went with, and expect usable space to be a little bit less than that. Thankfully, Sony has confirmed, much like PS3 and PS4, you can upgrade the console storage. PS5 will accept NVMe M2 drives, and this will increase your storage on top of what you already have. So, unlike PS3 and PS4, where you're replacing the HDD, here you're actually expanding. However, it's important to note, because PS5's SSD is so fast, you'll need to buy one that matches or exceeds its speeds for it to be usable, and right now there's not many drives that meet the requirement. That, and they're very costly, but over time these should get cheaper. PS5 will also be backwards compatible with the vast majority of PS4 games. In fact, there's only 8 or so games right now that will not work at all, but other than that, you've got complete compatibility with over 4,000 titles. Just make sure you've downloaded the latest system firmware update. PS5 will also improve the performance of some PS4 games. Load times can be reduced substantially, and you can also see higher frame rates or resolution. This will depend greatly on each game, if it's got an unlocked frame rate or a dynamic resolution, but in those cases, or games that, say, struggle to hit 30 FPS, PS5 will boost these titles. Now, this is all without the developer touching the game. However, if the developer wants to, they can go back and patch in native PS5 support, ensuring more enhancements will be available. In some cases, PS4 games are getting free upgrades to more complete PS5 versions. This is very dependent on the developer though. Some are charging fees to upgrade games, and some are charging full price. Now, in order for PS4 games to be boosted on PS5, they need to be installed on the SSD. But storage right now is costly to expand, so PS5 will also support external HDDs. If you use one right now, it will basically be plug and play right into PS5, and you can play games from there. Just remember, if you play games from the external HDD, then they'll play exactly like they do on PS4, no enhancements. Also, save files will easily transfer over. You can do it through PS Plus cloud storage, the external hard drive. You can even transfer over your PS4 games and save files right over Wi-Fi. Just make sure you still have your PS4 in order to do that. It's also worth pointing out that yes, save files for PS4 games do transfer easily, but if you upgrade a PS4 game to PS5, that's where your save file might not transfer. This will require the developer to support that feature, so make sure ahead of time for the game that you want to play and upgrade to PS5. When playing PS4 games on PS5, you can still play online with other PS4 players. In fact, most PSN features are cross-gen compatible, so it doesn't matter if you're on PS4 or PS5, you can continue to message friends and even use party chat. For PSVR, this will also be supported on PS5. The only caveat is that you will need an adapter to use a PS4 camera on PS5, and this will be a requirement. You have to use the PS4 camera on PS5 to continue using PSVR. Luckily, Sony will offer an adapter for free if you already own PSVR, so you can claim the adapter directly from Sony by giving them the serial number of your PSVR headset. Sony has also confirmed that going forward, PS5 games cannot use the current PSVR headset, so right now PSVR is only used through backwards compatibility to play PS4 PSVR games. You're not going to see PS5 games use the current headset available today. For discs, this time around PS5 will come with an Ultra HD Blu-ray player, so it'll be utilizing 100GB discs for massive storage. Also, the disk drive itself has 2 layers of insulation, so it should be fairly quiet while a disk is spinning inside. For those ready to go all digital, PS5 will also be available without a disk drive, the PS5 Digital Edition. This is a slimmer looking symmetric console that only accepts downloads, and it's cheaper too. This model can't play discs of course, but for PS4 games it can still play downloaded titles. In terms of ports on the console, it has 1 USB-C and USB-A on the front, and 2 more USB-A on the back. There's also Ethernet, HDMI, and power. The HDMI port this time around will support the latest HDMI 2.1 standard, which has enough high-speed data transfer to support 4K and 120 frames per second, which some games will actually offer. Not many, but some games will offer performance settings to reach it. PS5 will also support Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.1, keeping up with the emerging wireless space, which could be vital for extra peripherals that could potentially be used for PS5. And for power consumption, PS5 uses 350 watts in operation, while the Digital Edition uses slightly less at 340 watts. Sony has also committed to fighting climate change by ensuring the rest mode operation of PS5 with a suspended game only draws 0.5 watts of power. The PS5 console itself is definitely one of the largest ones out there, measuring 390 by 104 by 260 millimeters and weighing 4.5 kilograms for the regular model or 3.9 for the Digital Edition. The reason for this, and this also goes back to the console specs, is the goal of making PS5 properly cooled and quiet while playing games. It's designed for ventilation all around the inner section. There's a massive heat sink inside, and also liquid metal cooling, a step above traditional thermal paste to keep the console's operating temperature down. This goes even further when we consider PS5's variable frequencies. Normally one would think this means PS5 is getting overclocked, but it's actually more of a reverse boost clock. PS5 will operate at the top frequencies almost always, and only dip under heavier loads. This is tied directly to a set power budget for the console. The PS5's fan speed can also be adjusted over time through firmware updates, depending on games that might need more or less cooling. The console design, which has 2 shell-like panels on the top and bottom, can be easily taken off. In fact, they're not even held down by security screws. You just lift one edge and slide the panel to unhook it. This is so you can upgrade your storage or even remove dust from the console. Now, because the panels are easily removed without voiding your warranty, this means we'll see customizable plates. Right now, it looks like outside companies aren't allowed to make them or sell them, so this might be something that only Sony will do, but you could still easily remove your own and customize them yourself. When looking at PS5, you'll notice that it needs a stand for both vertical and horizontal orientations. Normally, stands are sold separately, but this time around it's necessary, so it's included. You can screw the stand in when it's in vertical, and for horizontal, you actually stash away that screw inside the stand and then use it normally. In terms of visual enhancements for PS5 games, the console will support hardware-accelerated ray tracing. This is a technique that accurately simulates the path of light and reflections. See, lighting is actually very crucial to how a game ends up looking, and ray tracing can deliver some truly stunning results. PS5 also utilizes something called the Geometry Engine. This allows developers to approach PS5 development very easily by working on the console from a PS4 level foundation and scaling up from there. You can either continue to make games like you always have been, or start utilizing all the new SDK features right from there. Normally, with brand new console generations, developers have to start from scratch with a new SDK and architecture, but starting with PS4 familiarity and scaling up from there makes it much easier. One of the larger principles of PS5 is 3D audio. This time around, Sony's console will have something called the TEMPEST 3D AUDIOTECH, and this is hardware-level support for the feeling of presence and locality no matter what headset you're using. You won't need to go out and buy anything extra. PS5 will simulate all the sounds around you accurately and truly make you feel as though you know where sound is coming from. To further support 3D audio, PS5 will use HRTF profiles, which stands for Head Related Transfer Function. HRTF is what occurs when you hear something from a sound source, and since everyone's ears are different, your HRTF profile will be different from everyone else's. PS5 at launch will have a few HRTF profiles to choose from, where hopefully one will match yours better for an improved immersive audio experience. Down the road, Sony has said they'd like to potentially offer more custom HRTF profiles. The better the match, the more realistic sound will appear to you. In order to do this, you'd actually take a picture of your ears to send to Sony. It sounds strange, but based on a database, they could potentially match you with a better profile that they have on hand, which could then be used for PS5 games. Now, 3D audio will be best experienced through headphones, but Sony has also said they're working on virtual surround sound through TV speakers and soundbars. Again, this doesn't require any extra purchase on your end. But if you have surround sound, no worries, Sony's also working on improving the audio experience there as well, just that for right now, they're working on headphones first, TV speakers second, and then surround sound systems last. The PS5's controller is called the DualSense. It will have an improved speaker, larger battery, and utilize USB-C. This time around, it will also feature a microphone with a mute button right up front, so if you wanted to, you could quickly use the controller for voice chat without getting your headset ready. Now, the reason why it's called the DualSense is because there's a larger focus on the sensory experience you'll have while playing games. It has adaptive triggers, which can tighten or resist based on what's happening in-game. So, as an example, they can lock up when your gun jams, or say in Ratchet & Clank, you can hold the trigger down halfway for a single barrel shot, or you can push down harder, and there's going to be more resistance there, to go for a double barrel shot. Then there's the haptic feedback. Unlike traditional rumble vibrations, haptic feedback can deliver sensations that really feel like the action you're experiencing in-game. Things like walking on sand can feel different from walking on metal, or flying down a giant slide, or wind blowing against your character. You can really feel these things right from the controller. And actually, the gameplay you're seeing right now is a title that will demonstrate all these features to you for free, ASTRO'S Playroom. It's completely free, pre-installed on every single PS5. This platformer was made to utilize and showcase all of the DualSense features. Speaking of free games, if you're a PlayStation Plus member already on PS4, then PS5 you're also getting access to the PlayStation Plus Collection. This is a catalog of genre-defining PS4 games, all free to play with your membership. Right now, there's 20 games in it. The best part is that these games are claimable like the monthly Instant Game Collection games, so when you add any of these to your library, they will stay with you and be playable for as long as you're an active member. Also, while this may seem obvious, it's a good reminder to point out that since PS5 is backwards compatible, that means moving forward all monthly PS Plus games will be playable from PS5. Before, you'd need a Vita, PS3, PS4 if you wanted to say take advantage of all the games, but here you'll have access to every single game whether it's PS4 or PS5. Now, real quick, back to the DualSense. Much like the actual PS5 console, there's a trim piece on the DualSense that can easily be removed without any screws. The bottom, darker colored piece can be taken off with just some careful prying. So we'll probably see some customization there in the open market as well. And also, as a cool little Easter egg, if you were to zoom in really close to the back of the controller, or the intersection of the PS5 shells, or any of the official accessories, you can see tiny little PlayStation buttons. For PS5's user interface, this will be completely centered around keeping you in your games and being mindful of your time. So on the home screen you can see all of your games, but if you were to scroll down, you'll see these things called activity cards. These are particular sections of a game that you can easily jump to instead of booting the game normally. So a multiplayer lobby that's already open, or a single player mission that you're currently working on, you can hit these and you'll jump right to that. On the card itself, you'll see an estimated time of completion, or even a progress bar if it's something you've already started and are actively working towards. This time around, trophies will be trackable as an activity card, so you can see just how close you are to a trophy that might have a quantitative attribute. And you'll also notice this time around, trophies might actually reward you with a digital item, like an avatar for example. Speaking of trophies, one cool little feature is that every time you do earn one, PS5 will record that moment. It'll be saved as a short video clip that plays an animation introducing the trophy moments before it's actually earned. Back to the home screen, some PS4 games through backwards compatibility will be able to take advantage of PS5 specific features, and this will depend largely on the game. The Explore tab on the PS5's home screen will be your hub of official game news from all the titles that you own or are actively following. And the PlayStation Store is now baked right into the PS5's UI. It's no longer a separate app, so it will immediately load and cache all the images and store items ahead of time so you can start browsing right away. When actively playing a game, you can suspend it and be taken to a control center. This is a screen that will show you the game's activity cards, trophies, but also give you quick access to options like parties, messages, microphone settings, and more. With the DualSense, you've now got the Create button, which works just like the PS4 Share button. PS5 is always capturing your gameplay and can do it in 4K. One handy feature when sharing a screenshot is that you can send it to your friends, but the screenshot you're sending might contain a spoiler, and if the developer thinks that it is a spoiler, they can set it so that when your friend receives that screenshot, they'll actually get a warning before they open it. When checking out activities for a game, you can sometimes find hints built right in for PS Plus members. These could be text hints or even video, and when you play the videos, you can snap them to the side of the screen or even do picture-in-picture. Something else you can do is actually watch your friend's screen while you play a game as well, if they decide to share it. So much like game hints, you can actually view this in picture-in-picture. Now, one of the biggest features of PS5, that SSD, plays a huge role in even just starting games. The SSD allows games to start within a matter of seconds, getting you in quicker than ever. And it goes beyond boot times too. The SSD allows games to no longer have long loading screens, so whether you're loading a save file, using fast travel, or restarting after a death or failure, it only takes a second or two, if that, to be right back in. See, the eventual goal for PS5 games is to free up developer creation. Oftentimes, games are made around the memory budget, but there's a lot of clever tricks developers have used over time to hide loading screens, like making you walk very, very far before the next level, or taking an elevator ride. These are here so the next level can load. With the SSD, developers can create without worrying about how to load assets, like Ratchet & Clank's dramatic level shifting as an example. Another benefit to the SSD is that game patches no longer need to be installed. On a hard drive, the game's file basically needs to be copied with the updated changes, but with an SSD, any new data that's added can be seeked out instantly, meaning a new file doesn't need to be created. And in terms of game and console pricing, this can vary widely depending on where you live, but for PS5 and the next generation, unfortunately, most territories are seeing an increase to game prices. Here in the US, games are likely going to be $70 moving forward, and the regular PS5 with the disc drive is $499. But anyway, for the most part, that is everything that you need to know about PS5 moving forward. You are officially ready to go. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Technically, as of right now, PS5 is not out just yet. However, this is pretty much everything we know so far going into launch, and so you're about as informed as you can be before you actually buy this console when it comes out in your country. If you haven't yet, please subscribe for the best PlayStation news, reviews, and updates that are here on YouTube, so we can cover the platform's launch and everything thereafter that we didn't talk about here. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Mystic Ryan, and that is pretty much it. I will see you all in my next video. You take it easy.